Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Good morning, everybody. It is morning, 12:23 a.m. Scuba, your host, coming to you live for this week's Week 12 NFL picks. Yes, doing this late night just to get it done. And in the peace and quiet, I have returned from a great win by Florida State over the dreaded Florida Gators, ladies and gentlemen. 27-2 is your final score. Yeah. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Great, great start for the weekend. Even though the weekend really started 2 days ago. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving holiday. Hope you're having a continued great weekend. But without further ado, and listening to me with the NFL logo up there, let's get to the NFL Week 12 picks. Now, I had a much better week this week. Still not great, but I went 8-5. So that's good, considering I had 2 losing weeks in a row. So overall record has improved to 95-64. Not bad. Off to a 2-1 start this week after Thursday's Thanksgiving games. Correctly had Carolina and the Lions winning. Unfortunately, couldn't get the trifecta. Green Bay loses once again to the Bears. Now, the Bears are playing very, very well lately. They are a good football team now, despite how things looked going into the season. John Fox, obviously, the man knows how to coach, and saw him in Carolina and Denver. So now here he is in Chicago doing the exact same thing. They've apparently started to buy into his system, and Cutler's playing well for them. And despite the injuries to Matt Forte and even Alshon Jeffrey to a certain degree, the Bears just are winning some games, folks. And it's really making things a little interesting there in that NFC North division. And Green Bay seemed to kind of turn things around last week or last Sunday by beating Minnesota and tying for first place and getting the head-to-head, of course, and then turning around and just losing on Thursday to the Bears, their dreaded rivals, and at Green Bay too. So that Green Bay offense is just inept, even with Aaron Rodgers. So go figure. The craziness of the NFL season continues. Carolina continues to roll. And Cam Newton's putting that team on his back, although he's really not doing anything special. It's just the media and a lot of people are just riding him. He's doing well, but his numbers and everything else are not comparable to some others. But it is what it is, and Carolina keeps finding ways to win, and until they lose, and gotta keep picking them, I guess. But all right, well, let's get to it. Week 12, first game up, the hometown Kansas City Chiefs, who also are playing pretty good football right now, have the Bills coming to town. Chiefs are playing tough, like I said, and they do play even tougher at home. So I will have to go with them this week. So let's go with the Chiefs. Next up, you got the hometown Bengals, kind of a little bit on a downslide. Lost 2 straight now. Got the Rams coming to town. The Bengals are still a good football team, and I'm going to go with the Bengals this week at home to kind of rebound. Case Keenum at quarterback for the Rams is definitely worse than Nick Foles. Todd Gurley, the heir apparent, is slowed down immensely the last few weeks. Having a hard time getting it going for about 3 weeks now. So I'm liking the Bengals to rebound, finally come back home with a win. Next up, we've got the Texans. Texans also playing a little bit better of late. They are at home. Got the New Orleans Saints coming to town. Saints are just an awful football team. If anybody can do something to get the Texans offense going, it'll be that New Orleans defense. Despite Rob Ryan being gone, it's still the same guys out there playing. That defense is horrible. Look for Brian Hoyer to put up some decent numbers, and I mean, Hopkins is going to have probably a monster day against that Saints secondary. So, and with the Texans playing some better defense, I don't see any reason why they can't win this game. So I'm going with the Texans this week. Next up, we have the Bucs going into Indianapolis. The Bucs are a surprising 5-5 now, showing drastic improvements. Of course, we all know about Jameis Winston's 5-touchdown pass week last week against the Eagles, 45-17 thrashing. Gotta love it. Certainly did not see that coming, but all aspects of the game, I'd give the Bucs an A- for that one. I am going to go with the Bucs again this week against the Colts. We've got Matt Hasselbeck at quarterback now. That secondary for the Colts is still a little bit banged up. Offensively, they might still be able to do some things. Matt Hasselbeck, can still get the job done a little bit, even at 42. I'm going to take the Bucs in this one here. Next up, we've got the Jaguars at home against the Chargers. The Jaguars are actually in position now in that whole division now. The AFC South, North is up for grabs. And so look for the Jaguars in an upset. No, not really an upset, I guess. It's over the Chargers. The Chargers are just a horrible team right now. They just can't get any kind of running game going. You're going to have to sling it around the yard to a bunch of guys that are banged up. Antonio Gates is giving it his all, but the receiving core is not quite intact. I'm not sure if Malcolm Floyd's going to be back or not, so Phillip Rivers could have another tough day. And this Jaguars offense is surprisingly good, folks, and they're going up against the worst rush defense in the league. So T.J. Yeldon could have a pretty big game for the Jaguars, and the Jaguars can get that running game going with him, and passing the ball as well as Bortles has been doing lately to Hearns, and definitely going to probably get some points put on the board. Let's go with the Jaguars this week. I also like the Jets at home this week against the Dolphins. The Dolphins are still kind of in a mild tailspin. They just can't seem to do anything right now. Of course, the Jets themselves are also in a little bit of a tailspin, but the Jets are at home. That defense is still pretty strong. It looks like Darrelle Revis is out this week, though, however, so the Dolphins may be able to do some damage. Jarvis Landry should be able to get, he'll get his usual amount of targets. Rashard Matthews should have some decent matchups. So the Jets are a little bit vulnerable in the secondary. But I think up front they should do a pretty decent job, and I like the Jets to get a win this week. Next up, this is my upset special. I'm going to take the Vikings over the Falcons, who are at home, by the way, and the Falcons are also in their own little tailspin. If the Falcons lose another game and the Bucs win, the Bucs are actually in a playoff spot. That is correct. The Bucs will be in a playoff spot if they win and the Falcons lose again. Go figure that. Now, I got to say, I'm just going to back up just a little bit. I know I'm trying to get through these picks. I don't really want the Bucs to make the playoffs, although it's nice. It gives them a worse draft position, and they still got issues. There's no question about it. So I just don't know that they have the kind of team that can make a run in the playoffs. So is it really worth them making the playoffs? I don't know. Let's see what happens this week. Maybe I'll change my mind. I am liking some of the changes and things that are going on. Okay, next up, we've got the hometown, Washington. Got the Giants coming to town, and I'm going to like the Giants in this one. The Giants, look, with the Cowboys, I think officially eliminated. I think it's safe. We can all say that now. All you Cowboy fans, Romo's out for the season. Even if he was back, I'm sorry, your hopes and dreams were still slim to none anyway. Now they're just dashed and gone. Philadelphia, obviously, they stink because they lost again on Thursday. This is the Giants' division. The NFC East is the Giants' division to lose. They're right now they're the better team in that division. It's just they're going to win it by default. It's just a bad set of football teams. The Giants being the best of the bad, I guess. So I'm going to go with the Giants over Washington this week. But I think Washington can put up some points against that Giants team. We'll see what happens. Now we got the Raiders coming to town to Tennessee. Titans are playing a little bit better on defense, but they just still not getting a whole lot going on offense. They really don't have much of a running game, although Antonio Andrews is he's not running the ball well, but they are using him quite well out of the backfield in the receiving role. I like the Raiders, who just can't seem to get over the hump. There's like 1 week the Raiders look good, and the next week they look like the Raiders. I'm going to look for the Raiders to be good this week. Next up, this is a mismatch if I ever seen one. Look, the Cardinals continue to take control of that division. Cardinals should easily win over the 49ers, who are at home this week. Look for the Cardinals to put up some big numbers. And defensively, that's your team. If you're not, there's two teams you should probably put in this week. The Cardinals being one of them, and probably the Chiefs. Chiefs against that Bills offense, which is horrible. It's going to be bad weather, it looks like. But those are the two defenses I'm going with this week, Cardinals and the Chiefs. At home, we have the Steelers coming to visit the Seahawks. You don't see this matchup happen very often. Seahawks are they're struggling right now. They're going to be fortunate if they make the playoffs. Steelers are tough. Roethlisberger's had some time. They came off their bye. No more bye weeks this week, by the way. So I think with Roethlisberger being a little more rested, they can put up some points on the Seahawks defense. The Seahawks have shown that they can give up points. Just saw the Cardinals do it a couple weeks ago. But the Seahawks are at home. Yes, the Steelers have had 2 weeks to kind of prepare for them. It's still a long trip out there. I don't know. I'm going to give the Seahawks one last chance. If the Seahawks lose this one, I'm going to write them off for the season for sure. I think they have enough to beat the Steelers this week, and it's going to be home, and it's going to be a close one. It's probably going to come down to a field goal, and I like the Seahawks to probably steal this one. Next up, we got the Patriots and Broncos, which earlier in the season looked like it was really a matchup to be looking forward to. Broncos, as you know, has finally sat Peyton Manning. Brock Osweiler, they are at home. Broncos still have a pretty tight defense, the best defense in the AFC right now. But the Patriots aren't playing bad defense either. But the Patriots are just losing guys left and right. They've just got a makeshift offensive line, a makeshift receiving core. So this could be a big Gronk game. LaFell's going to have to step in there. Amendola did not make the trip to the team. Although it looks his injury is not going to be as bad as they initially thought. I still think the Patriots could find a way to win this one. And we're going to walk out of there with a win and continue their undefeated streak alive. And last but not least, if anybody watches this game on Monday, I feel sorry for you. I will probably have it on just because I have fantasy implications. And that's probably the only reason anybody outside of the team that watch it. The Browns are at home against the Ravens. Awful. Going to be one of the worst Monday matchups in a long time. I'm sure the NFL is just like, oh my gosh, I wish we could change this one. But they aren't. And I'm going to look for the Browns to take the Ravens down this week. Does it really matter why? No, it doesn't. I think offensively, Matt Schaub playing for the Ravens is not very good. The Ravens really don't have any receivers to begin with. When they had Flacco, now they're going to have Matt Schaub, Mr. Pick Six. at least the Browns. I mean, Josh McCown is not all that great either, but he should be able to put up some numbers against this Ravens secondary. So I look for the Browns to win this one. So that's it. That's it, folks. I kept it at 15 minutes, which I like to do for these. So that's what we have. So I hope everybody has a great Sunday and a great rest of the weekend. And I hope everybody had a great, safe holiday. And we'll look forward to hearing back with you soon. I'm gonna probably do a show probably next week or the week after that for sure. We've got bowl season coming up for the college football. All the big championship games next week, a lot of implications. So may try to squeeze in a real show for next week. So stay tuned. Again, this is Scuba, 2 Cents Sports and Entertainment coming at you live. Whew. Have a great day, everybody.